Yo, what's up? I don't know why I do that, but there we are. Maybe that's the new intro, bro. Yo, what's up? Episode 2 of TraderMind. If you haven't seen episode 1, you need to go back and watch episode 1. Can I just say I was going to say my communication skills have improved, but clearly they haven't because I've just stuttered and messed up a sentence within the first 30 seconds of the video, which doesn't mean you should instantly click off, but it does mean that I'm not a public speaker, which makes sense. Like I said in episode 1, I'm a day trader. I stick in my own little bubble. I don't go out speaking, publicly. And I hardly really speak to the camera. As you can see, my YouTube channel is like 3 weeks old, bro. So give me a break with my communication skills. One thing, I'm not sure if I pointed out in episode 1, but I would like to point it out. I have learned a lot of my psychology lessons from the book Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. Now, you could go and watch it. It's about 6 hours. Well, you could go and watch it. You could go and watch the audio book on YouTube for free, which is what I did. It was about 6 hours long, and it's a computer talking to you and words on the screen. It's very hard to take in. It took me a while to take it in, but you could go and do that, or you could just watch me. I'm basically going to give you the best lessons I learned from that 6 hours in, shorter videos. And then on top of that, my own personal lessons. So not everything I've learned is from that book, but maybe specifically today's lesson is from that book with my own little twist on it. So episode 2 is thinking in probabilities. What actually does thinking in probabilities mean? So it comes down to 5 things, maybe a bit more. Understanding what uncertainty is in the market, managing your expectations onto the market, seeing, understanding and accepting risk clearly, thinking from a more objective standpoint, and understanding that there is no guaranteed outcome in the market. Why does thinking in probabilities matter? It keeps your mind open, and when keeping your mind open, it's going to reduce the emotional damage you experience in the market. And as a trader, you're moving towards controlling your emotions in the market. So that's why thinking in probabilities matters, because it's going to help you take a step towards understanding and controlling your emotions better whilst being in the market. And it gives you more control over your emotions by changing your perspective. So we're going to start off with the coin flip example. I just flipped a coin. I asked you to choose heads or tails. You choose heads. Before the coin has even landed, you understand that the outcome is random. That there is no guarantee that it's going to land on heads. You understand, it's completely random. You don't know where it's going to land on. So if it lands on tails, which it did in this scenario, you're not pissed off. You don't care emotionally because you understood beforehand and accepted the outcome is random. There was no way for you to guarantee no it's going to land on heads. So when it lands on tails, you don't get pissed off. This also means you had neutral expectations. You didn't expect it to land on heads because you understood it was a random outcome. You need to have that same idea in trading. So before you've even taken your trade, you need to understand that there is no guaranteed outcome. So in trading, when we accept that the outcome is random, there's no guaranteed way to know, you can't be certain, there is uncertainty present, then you're going to have neutral expectations and you're going to be open-minded in the market. And then that leads you to more of an objective / logical thinking point compared to the emotional point. So if we're thinking in probabilities and we understand that the outcome is random no matter what, how can we make money from the market? Because we need to understand that one trade is random, but over, 100 trades with a specific strategy, specific edge in the market, then that's when it's going to show results. And an example I can give for that is the casino. So how can the casino actually make money from blackjack if the outcome is always random? Because it's a random game, it does require some skill like trading, but at the end of the day, there's no way for me to know if I'm playing blackjack that I'm going to win. And it's the same for the casino. So how does the casino actually make money from blackjack? And it's because the casino has a 1% edge over the player. And then, knowing this, the casino understands that this one specific hand, yeah, they might lose money, but over 10,000 hands with tons of different players, they're going to make money. So understanding that having a larger sample size is important. Just because you lost this one trade with your strategy, it doesn't mean that over 50 trades, 100 trades, you're going to lose all 50 or 100. The chances are, if it's a good strategy, you're going to be winning and you're going to have a positive P&L. So therefore, it's important to not judge one trade, but to judge a multitude of trades. Another thing to keep in mind is good trades can lose and bad trades can win. That is how the market is. You know, you can have the most perfect setup and it can go the complete opposite way. And then you can take a trade that you was thinking twice about and then just smash through your TP. There is no guaranteed way to know the outcome of a scenario because every trade in the market is unique. Now, how are no two trades in the market the same? And that is because there are unknown variables that you literally cannot know. It's impossible to know every single variable about the market. So even though this specific trading day might look exactly the same as 2 weeks ago, it ain't the same. Why? Like I just said, because they are unknown market variables. What are the unknown market variables? There's tons of things, like the amount of people trading on that day, the amount of people that just exited, the amount of people that just entered, the amount of people even thinking of entering or exiting, the lot size they used, the specific trade they took. There's tons of unknown variables that affect the market that prevent two trades being the exact same. So they can be very similar, but they cannot be identical. So an important thing to remember as well is that the past guides you. So the only reason you've taken this trade today is because of something similar that's happened in the past or knowledge you've gained from the past. So the past can guide you, but the past cannot guarantee the outcome of the trade. Just because it looks the same, it doesn't mean it's going to play out the same way. And a lot of traders hate this because a lot of traders in the market want certainty. They want to know the outcome, which is just impossible. They cannot know the outcome. No matter how good or perfect the trade looks, it's impossible to know for certain that it's going to play out exactly how you want it to play out. So a lot of traders want certainty. They want to know that the outcome isn't random, because if they know that it isn't random, then they can be consistent and then they can have certainty. They get to know then, but you're never going to get that in the market, so stop chasing it. And then a trap that a lot of traders can fall into is over analyzing the market. They'll be going through so many indicators. You know, this is a terrible chart. I don't even know what's going on with it. They can have so many indicators, so many confluences. They can try to know everything about the analytical side of trading, but that's never going to give you safety. So over analyzing can actually be self-destructive because more analysis doesn't give you control. And like I said, the market cannot guarantee an outcome for you. But this is realistically a good thing because certainty creates pressure. So if you're trying to chase a certain guaranteed outcome and you can never get it, then you're pressuring yourself and you're almost getting emotionally attached to the market. But if you understand beforehand that the market can't guarantee an outcome for me, there's no way for me to know if this trade's going to play out, then before you've even taken the trade, you've accepted that you could lose, and then that gives you a free feeling and you're not emotionally attached to the market anymore. You just go into the market caring less. Now, by caring less, I don't mean just, randomly click buy or randomly click sell. There are strategies that give you the edge over a certain amount of time that will help you win. But the great thing with not chasing certainty is that it takes emotional stress away from you, because you understand there's no way for me to know if this is going to win. So I'm just going to place it off what I know from the past, but the past cannot guarantee anything for my future. Another thing with thinking in probabilities is managing your expectations. Expectations are what we believe the future moment to be like. And expectations come from what we've learned and the past, because if you don't know nothing completely about trading, you can't expect something to happen because you don't know nothing about it. So we only have expectations on something that we know about. So when you are expecting things in the market to happen, you're projecting what you want to happen onto the market. You want to be right. And that's why managing your expectations beforehand is really important. Because if before you've taken the trade, you understand that there's no way that for me to know where this is going to go, then you can't be hurt if you're wrong because you understood beforehand. If you understand me, hopefully. If not, you might have to go, listen to what I've been saying, try and catch up, make sure you're taking it in, take some notes. And another thing with managing your expectations, if you are, so determined that price is going up today and you want to be right, then there may be obvious opposite signs you're ignoring, which can prevent you from being an objective trader, and you're more determined and you rather be right than see the market for what it is. So if I'm expecting something to happen in the market, then I want myself to be right. I want to be right because I want my expectations to be right. And then therefore, if I want myself to be right, then the obvious signs that I could be wrong, I'm just going to ignore because I don't care about knowing the truth. I care about being right, which is going to mess up your trading. So that's why managing your expectations is important. You need to be completely neutral minded before you've even taken the trade, understanding that there's no guaranteed outcome, that the past can guide me but it can't guarantee anything, and do not expect anything to happen. Do not expect to be right. Another thing with thinking in probabilities is accepting risk. If you've accepted the risk beforehand, then, and for example, if you've accepted the loss, so if you've taken the trade and you've already accepted that you've lost this trade, then when you lose, you don't care. And then that's going to keep you in an objective state of mind. And then it might provide you the opportunity because you're logically thinking to take another trade from a newer perspective because you're not emotionally affected by the loss. Another thing with accepting risk is do not be over risking, because as soon as you start over risking, that's gonna, your emotions are gonna be going through the roof. So making sure you're managing your risk is really important too. You don't need the trade to win. So if you're a day trader, you need to understand that today, yeah, you might lose, but you don't know how the next 10 trading sessions are gonna go. Now, obviously, best case scenario is you win them 10 next sessions. But what you need to understand is that today, you don't need to win. Obviously, you want to win, but it's not about wanting to win. It's about sticking to your strategy and predicting price action. And over a long enough amount of time, you're going to be winning. So understanding that, yeah, you might have lost today, but you don't know how the future's going to go. The next 5 trading days, you could win them all. It's about sticking to your strategy and accepting that today might be a loss, but that doesn't mean tomorrow is going to be a loss. So how do we practice thinking in probabilities? Is not, something you can, for example, a strategy you can back test. Thinking in probabilities isn't like that. It's reinforcing the mindset. So always thinking in a series, always understanding that, yeah, today you might lose, but one day doesn't determine the strategy. It doesn't show anything. 100 trades, that's the big difference. Making sure that you're accepting that there's no guaranteed outcome, and if you understand there's no guaranteed outcome, then you're slightly uncertain. So if you lose, it shouldn't affect you emotionally because you already understood that beforehand. After you've taken the trade, go back, review your trade. 100% I recommend you journaling your trades. You need to be doing that. Or if you're not journaling them, maybe if you have the opportunity to record yourself and, talk out loud and then go back through the recording. Or something I like to do is have like a notes tab open and then be writing down all my notes, live as I'm in the market, and not just strategical notes but emotional notes, how you're feeling, because knowing how you're feeling at the specific time is going to help you in the future. With writing down your expectations, so if you're learning to manage your expectations, what you could do before you enter the trade is write down what you expect to happen. Then ask yourself why do you expect that to happen. Then ask yourself, what would prove that expectation wrong? So why could this expectation be absurd or just be wrong? And then ask yourself, what other outcome that isn't aligned with my expectation that could happen? And then this gives you, an open-minded thinking, so you're not expecting something to happen, or if you are, write down what you're expecting to happen, go through everything I just said, and then it sort of, makes you step back and have another think about the market with a new, fresh mindset. So that is the main things with how to practice it. So the summary of today is understanding that one trade means little. Good trades can lose, bad trades can win. That's probability. Executing your trades, and then after you've executed your trades, make sure you're reviewing it carefully. And obviously everything else we've gone through. So that being accepting risk completely. I'm not going to go over it again, but accepting risk completely. What does it mean to truly accept risk? Why is every trade unique in the market? Manage your expectations in the market, and I just went through how you can practice that. And do not chase certainty, just understanding that the market is uncertain no matter what you do. Okay, so that's today's video, a bit more in depth. Like I said, I can credit this mainly towards Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. Like I said as well in video 1, that there are about 16 videos, 17 videos in total I'm going to go through. So only a few of them are from that book. Mainly the others are from personal lessons I've learned and just generic lessons, but more in depth on the psychology side for you to learn how to think and have a better mindset going into the trading if you struggle with the psychology side of trading. So the next video we're going to be going through is trust in your strategy. Why is this so important? And the psychology behind that. Anyways, if you've got this far, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something from today, and I hope you're looking forward to the next episode. I'm going to try and release 2 a week. I want to give each individual episode chance to get out there so people can be in tune with the course as I go through it. Anyways, that's me for today. If you want to follow my trading journey on any other platforms, then that's me bottom right. Anyways, like I said, I hope you're having a good day. Hope you continue to have a great week. Thanks for watching. Peace out.